What's going on, fantasy football fans? I'm your host, Hussein the Brain, and you're watching The Couch. These are my Week 15 DFS NFL picks. Let's win. For those of you that have never played FanDuel, stay tuned till the end of the video. I have a special promo code only for people who have never played, a special promo package, so stay tuned. These are my Week 15 picks. We like to start off with the kicker and defense first, then go to the more important positions, the positions that are easier to project how they're going to do week to week. So let's start off with the kicker. First, real quick, I want to announce that Cincinnati Bengals kicker Mike Nugent was released this week, so don't pick him. I'm going with Kai Forbath. That is the new Vikings kicker, and they're facing the Colts. I really like this matchup because the Vikings defense, they're pretty good, especially when they're at home, and they're at home. So I see a lot of field goals. I see this being a close game. Really like Kai Forbath. He's pretty accurate from what we've seen this year. I know he's played, he's played before. He's played on Washington. I don't know if he played on another team. He's definitely played for Washington though. He was decent, but this year he's having a really good year. He's been accurate and pretty good in fantasy. So I got him, 4,500 minimum price. If you want to change it up, you can go with Phil Dawson, the Niners kicker, more of a contrarian pick. Again, minimum price. Or you could go Graham Gano, a little bit contrarian there, I guess, 4,600. And yeah, I know it's not that big a deal to be contrarian with kickers. That's for sure. My two favorite kickers though this week are Nick Novak, okay, the Houston Texans kicker, facing the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars allowed the most fantasy points to kickers, and Nick Novak is only 4,700, so that's not bad. And my favorite kicker, this will be one of the few weeks where I'm not going to pick Justin Tucker as my number one kicker, because he's really good. I think I'm going to go with Matt Bryant, the Atlanta Falcons kicker, playing at home. Niners, offense is the most the fastest offense. They're the most up-tempo. That means more snaps for the Falcons on offense, more opportunities to score. Let's just hope it's not, for those of you that do pick Matt Bryant, are going to be hoping it's not like last week where the Falcons had 6 scoring opportunities and they capitalized with touchdowns and kicked 6 extra points when no field goals. So we're hoping that doesn't happen if you chose Matt Bryant. But I see him having a killer game, at least 12 fantasy points for Matt Bryant. But he's pretty expensive. I believe he's 5,100, and I think that's the second most expensive kicker. Justin Tucker, I think, is 5,200. The most expensive kicker, I usually don't pick the most expensive kicker, except if I do multiple GPP lineups. I switch up the kicker and might go with an expensive kicker. All right, enough talk about kickers. Let's put in Kai Forbath and move on. If we have more salary remaining at the end, after we're satisfied with our defense, tight end, and all that, we might move up and get Nick Novak at 4,700, only 200 more. So for defenses, my punts are the Jaguars defense and Jets defense. Not confident in either, but they are 4,100. Some sleeper defenses are the Buccaneers at 4,300, the Cardinals at 4,300, Vikings at only 4,500, Chiefs at 4,500. But a safe one that I would be comfortable picking in cash games would be the Packers. Should be a low-scoring game, or at least should be a low-scoring game for the Bears. I don't see the Bears putting up a lot of points. Weather's not, it should be far from ideal in Chicago. Should be a little bit of wind. Should be freezing temperatures over there. And they're only 4,500. A defense I'm really confident in is the Ravens defense, only 4,700. A little bit expensive, but it could be worth it. It's right in that middle range, but I really like them this week. They're facing the Eagles. The Eagles don't have too much of a potent offense. So as long as the Ravens don't screw up and turn the ball over, don't make too many mistakes, I think it'll be a relatively low-scoring game. At least the Eagles won't be scoring too many points. Won't be putting up too many points. And the Ravens should hold them to, like 2 touchdowns or something like that. Even better defense is the Texans. A little bit risky here. I'm starting them in traditional season long in the playoffs. I really like them against the Jaguars. I'm the type of team in traditional this year, I'm streaming defenses just about every week. Might stick with the same defense for 2-3 weeks at most. And, I'm glad I have the Texans D, but they are a little bit risky. They're playing the Jaguars. Jaguars don't put up a lot of points. Great matchup, but I'm just saying, like, the Ravens are a little safer. And which brings me to my favorite defense, the Bills defense. 5,100 playing against the Browns. This should be a very lopsided game. I don't see the Browns winning this game. And if you can afford 5,100 somehow, I think this is going to be worth it. For quarterbacks, so let's go. Okay, let's stick in the Ravens and Kai Forbath, and let's go to quarterbacks. We might even, depending on our salary cap, we might even go down. The Ravens are 4,700. We might go down. We might go up and spend more on a defense. For quarterbacks, the best quarterback to pick this week is Matt Ryan. And if you don't want to spend up for Matt Ryan's 8,500, don't want to spend up, you could go spend 7,500 and get a guy like Kirk Cousins. He's been pretty much lights out as of late. Remember that Thanksgiving game? He tore it up. Man, he was just on fire. Jordan Reed, not 100%. Definitely not going to be 100%. But, if you pick Kirk Cousins, you're really hoping that Jordan Reed plays more than 10 snaps. He only played 10 snaps week 14. So that's the real issue with him. I like Kirk Cousins a bit more when Jordan Reed is 100%. That guy is such a beast. That's why I'm going with Matt Ryan. Just pretty decent ceiling and definitely a high floor playing against the Niners. Should be a very high scoring game. By the way, they're playing in Atlanta, and I bet Matt Ryan likes that. Matt Ryan's been awesome everywhere he's played this year for some reason, but traditionally Matt Ryan's much better at home. So, I can't. Basically, I'm saying playing in a dome, home game in Atlanta, it's not a con. It's definitely a positive. If I had to say whether it's a good thing or a bad thing for Matt Ryan, people that pick Matt Ryan. Just real quick, some other options. Rivers is a contrarian pick. Carson Palmer, if you dare. I don't trust that guy. And Colin Kaepernick, I like the price at 7,500. My ultimate punt quarterback this week would be Trevor Siemian, priced pretty much close to minimum price, 6,600 going against the Patriots. That's nothing more than a punt option. I do see Trevor Siemian having to throw the ball. Their run game has just fell off. It's gone in a landslide. It has been horrendous. I think Booker got 1 rush yard this past week. So it has not been good. They're going to have to throw the ball. Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders are formidable receivers. So if you're looking for a punt, go with Trevor Siemian. You guys know me if you watched a lot of these videos. I don't like to punt quarterbacks usually in a cash game. But in GPP, hey man, there's so many ways you can go. For running backs, I do have some. I narrowed it down to some really good picks. There's a few ways you can go. I like David Johnson, but he does have a steep price, 9,800. I think there's ways you can go about this with like a cash game. You can go about a cash game without having to get David Johnson. I still think if you can squeeze him in your lineup, it's definitely a huge plus. The most upside and the highest floor as well, facing the Saints. But I think value-wise, the best one here is going to be Ezekiel Elliott at 8,500. You can definitely consider LaShawn McCoy at 9,000. But the best value stud running back is going to have to be Ezekiel Elliott. Only 8,500. That's not really that steep. Yeah, he hasn't been playing as well, but he's had some tough matchups. I think facing the Bucks, he's going to have a really good bounce back game. And it's the price that I really like. And I do still see him as a top 4 running back, at least top 5. He's super elite, so I really like that pick. I think I'm going to have Ezekiel Elliott in a lot of cash lineups. Devontae Freeman is another name I just wanted to mention, 7,700. But, not as I got better names here. Look at this one. LeGarrette Blount, Only 6,300. This has been one of the best running backs this year, and this price is super cheap. Now, if you believe LeGarrette Blount is going to get a touchdown, I think you should pick him. They're placing the Broncos. Run defense, not that great. Pass defense, awesome. We know the Patriots are a smart team, and LeGarrette Blount even scored a touchdown against the Ravens and was a pretty decent running back last week. So why not do it against the Broncos? I like that Patriots line, by the way, the offensive line. They've been playing really well. Another guy, well, two guys I want to mention real quick. Bilal Powell, Kenneth Farrow. So 6,200 for Powell, 6,000 for Farrow. These two guys are awesome. Bilal Powell I like much more than Farrow. So you can pick Bilal Powell if we know. By the way, the Jets, Bilal Powell's team plays Saturday, so he may not be in the slate that you're interested in. I just want to tell you that. So if Forte is out, Powell is a great pick at only 6,200. And if Melvin Gordon is out, I'm pretty confident Melvin Gordon will be out. About, I'd say, over 90% chance Melvin Gordon's not going to play. Kevin Farrow's only 6,000. Now, there is some risk with these guys. Powell has not been known for a huge upside running back. And Kenneth Farrow, he's not that great of a running back. And there is Ronnie Hillman behind him, so he may be splitting carries a little bit. You know, I still see Farrow getting the lion's share of the carries, but we don't really know here. It's a little bit messy situation for the Chargers. Also, Ty Montgomery, who's now officially running back for the Packers at only 5,000. Now, a lot of you know this already, but one thing that kind of slid under the radar is James Starks had suffered a concussion, or he's in concussion protocol, and was in a car accident, suffered a car accident Monday. So, you know, unfortunate for this guy, you know, his injury and whatnot, but it does give Ty Montgomery a boost as far as fantasy goes. And, you know, we're talking punts. 4,500 is a minimum price. 5,000 is just above that. And, man, talk about value and a cheap bargain baller price right here for Ty Montgomery. 5,000 is a great deal. For wide receivers, you got the usual studs out there, ODB, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans. But you also got Jordy Nelson, who's going to save you quite a bit. So the next up receiver, the elite receiver, Mike Evans, is 500 more than Jordy Nelson. It may be worth it to go cheaper with Jordy Nelson. I also have Larry Fitzgerald at 7,200 facing the Saints. And Emmanuel Sanders at 6,600. Tyreek Hill, 6,400. Taylor Gabriel, wow, I can't talk today. Taylor Gabriel, 5,800 going against the Niners. And Dontrell Inman, 5,500 going against the Raiders. And 3 bonus wide receivers for you guys for GPPs is Demaryius Thomas, because I think Sanders is the better pick. He performs better statistically against the Patriots, and he's cheaper. So I'm kind of thinking, why would anyone pick Demaryius Thomas? He's 100 more expensive than Sanders, and Sanders is the better pick. But at the same time, you know, I just said right here Sanders is better, but at the same time, Demaryius Thomas is not much worse than Sanders, and he's only 100 more. So for a guy I see being owned less, being more of a contrarian pick, would make for a better GPP pick. So I got Demaryius Thomas, 6,700. I also have Allen Robinson, 6,300 going against the Texans. Texans don't do so well against opposing teams' #1 wide receivers. That being said, I don't trust Allen Robinson, not one freaking bit. He's not that good. He's been probably one of the biggest busts. Yeah, the biggest, maybe behind Todd Gurley, like the biggest bust this year. He's just been horrible. Jaguars have been horrible, but that's going to call for a contrarian pick. And at 6,300, you know, if you have a few GPP lineups, let's say if you have 4 or 5, you may want to put Allen Robinson in at least one of them just for the heck of it. Only 6,300, guys. And my final GPP pick, wide receiver, is J.J. Nelson, 5,000, going against the Saints. Michael Floyd was cut. Jerron Brown is on IR, and John Brown is questionable with an injury. He's been dealing with injuries the past month or two. And so it's really Larry Fitz, J.J. Nelson, and David Johnson, the main guys over there, you know, other than Carson Palmer, of course. For tight ends, the two studs are, no doubt, Tyler Eifert, 7,200, and Travis Kelce, 6,900. This is going to be tough, though, to squeeze in all these awesome players. The prices are high, especially if you're going with a guy like David Johnson. So it's best to, in a cash game especially, best to save a little bit on tight ends. You could go Greg Olsen. I think Greg Olsen has an amazing floor at 6,300. But the Panthers have kind of sucked as of late, so not the highest ceiling. I mean, this guy would always, you know, a 100-yard performance or a touchdown would be normal for this guy, and for Olsen, that is, and not really as of late. You know, you're kind of hoping for 4 or 5 receptions and 70 yards. That's kind of what you're hoping for Olsen. His ceiling has not been as great as of late. You go even cheaper with Kyle Rudolph at 5,800. I have a good gut feeling about Cameron Brate, only 5,700, going against the Cowboys. I think this is a guy that was doing really well, and he's kind of fell off a little bit, but fell off of people's radars. Could be a good GPP pick as well. And some punts for you guys. I have to mention these 3 minimum price tight ends. Charles Clay, 4,500, going against the Browns. Great matchup. Charles Clay, we saw him be used a little bit last week. Had a good feeling. I said I had a good feeling about him last week too. And Jermaine Gresham, 4,500, going against the Saints. I think he has a questionable tag, but I don't believe it to be serious. Everybody on the Cardinals is questionable, so just double check on that. And I like Jack Doyle going against the Vikings, but only if Dwayne Allen is out. Now these guys are pretty much... I'd say Jermaine Gresham's probably the safest bet, especially with Michael Floyd being released. And I think Jack Doyle is the riskiest one. Does not have a good matchup against the Vikings. But if Dwayne Allen is out, and I believe Dante Moncrief might be out, I think Jack Doyle makes for a sneaky start. Not necessarily a guy I want in a cash game, but with those guys out, and we know what do the Colts do? They like to throw the ball. Luck doesn't have many targets to throw to, so I do have Jack Doyle there. I know a lot of people won't be thinking about picking Jack Doyle, so a little bit of a good contrarian pick. And those are all my picks for Week 15. If you want to try out some of these picks on FanDuel, you can do so. Just follow the link below, and when you sign up, use promo code FANTASYCOUCH. If it's your first time playing on Fantasy Couch, you don't have an account, you create one today, you'll get the FanDuel 5-pack, so you'll be invited once per week. Just make sure you check your email to enter a beginners only contest. It's worth $10 basically. It's a $10, it's free, but it's worth $10 entry each contest. So that's $50 value I'm giving you right there if you use my promo code. Also, make sure you guys like the video, leave a comment below, whatever you want. You already know I read every single comment, so like the video, leave a comment, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and watch my how to play DFS video strategy and introduction if you haven't already. It is a must watch. I'll see you guys on the next video.